Hello again, everyone. I am Dr. Kendo, and welcome to another Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor commentary episode. In this series, I create the objects you guys are requesting down in the comments section on these videos, and normally I just make whatever is voted most popular and most requested by the most amount of different viewers. But today, we must thank Sentry, who has donated into my Patreon page's final reward tier, which you could do too if you want your creation automatically made. It wouldn't even have to be voted most popular on any given week, so just as Sentry has done once again, he has chosen to be one of the few elite members of Kendopolis by giving to my Patreon page. Links to that are always in the description, and he's asked that we create Batman from the 2004 animated series called The Batman or The Batman, along with the Batbot robot suit. I've probably prefaced this many times if you've seen other Batman creations that I've done, but you'll need to first start out by typing in a rubber glove, throwing it down on the level and clicking to edit it in the object editor. Then hit that trash bag icon in the top right corner of the screen just below the trash can, and that makes the palm facing down glove then show up. And when you type rubber glove in the game, normally you can only get the palm facing up backhand rubber glove. So basically, to give us access to that other front glove, we just click on it, copy it, delete it, and make sure that it's in your left side panel of recently used stamps. That will allow us to use it in our creation later on. So we are starting off with a warrior as the source object. You're going to want the male warrior right here for our Batman design. And the only thing that I dislike about the warrior body is that I guess, below the belt right there, that area is a little bit too tall for the Batman, we'll call it. But also it's got that little strap there for like a spear or whatever that the warrior had just below his front arm. But anyway, we took all the limbs off and stuff. We can mostly cover up the things that I don't want to show up. So let's get our colors in right now. The color scheme, of course, should be these like kind of series of grays here for the top. But the warrior I liked, though, one thing that I really did like, I should say, about this source character is that the belt already comes with it, you know? So if we did like bodybuilder or something, would probably give us the right body type for the character, but it wouldn't have the belt on it, and we're probably not going to have enough stamps to be trying to makeshift our own belt along with all the other stuff. So here you can notice that I put down an amber in the middle of the belt for where the buckle is, that kind of center of it, and then the letter I we can do 3 times. It's like having it 4, but basically we're going to kind of envision that those pieces of the belt right there are going all the way around, and so we just can't see that last one because we're looking at the Batman here kind of from the side, but not fully from the side, but not fully front facing either. And so we went with a bodybuilder though, took the back arm, and we're going to make that both of the arms, the front and the back here, but we've also got a hammerhead shark now, taking the fin down there of the hammerhead shark, the main kind of fin on the side, and we're going to go with the great white shark after that. The great white shark's tail fin, of course, is what we're taking right here. I'm giving this kind of like not just all the way black, but like a really, really, really dark blue shade, I guess, or tint to it. So it should look almost all the way black, but it has just a slight blue on any of the lit parts of these kinds of stamps and stuff for our color scheme. I like that because it kind of fits that Batman style tones for the Batman. And so there was the rubber glove, of course, we typed in to get the back one, but then we go to the left side. You know, if you see on the left side of the screen, there's that whole panel that has stamps that we've recently used, like this one now just was added, the Minotaur thigh piece basically in the front, so the upper leg part. And then dinosaur, we took the tail of that, the very far tail piece of the dinosaur, so not the base of the tail, but the end. And so yeah, we grabbed that rubber glove front hand, or front glove, I guess you could call it, palm facing down. We grabbed that from the recently used stamps and stuff. So we're gonna go with a female vegetarian and take that back arm now to finish off the legs down here. This is gonna be for the feet. So her back arm is a pretty good stamp for the feet. It has a little curl at the end, but that's okay. And we're gonna probably have to keep adjusting things, I guess, to get the right sizes and whatnot, but that's gonna happen a little bit later as it's done. We've got most of the stuff on it, you know. So an oval is what I've typed in after that. If you're in Scribblenauts Unmasked, you will need to type that in just as I did, but in Scribblenauts Unlimited, if you want to, you can grab any kind of geometric shape from the geometry library if it's just the shapes, except for they are missing probably a few that you could type in and get without it. So after the oval, we put down a dagger tooth, the very far tail fin of the dagger tooth that can kind of make the beginning marks of this bat logo, the Batman logo right there, and imp wings is what we typed in after that. You can grab the female imp wings, of course, to get that design for the wings of of the bat logo. So taking the Kraken, you can grab any of the end tentacle pieces that will work. I shrunk it down pretty far. It's just going to be for a point at the tail, I guess, of the bat logo right there. And we're going to go with hair this time to be the spikes on the ends of the gloves for the Batman here. And so I'm going to do hair on both sides. Sometimes I use a whale fish and take that top dorsal fin, but that would take 3 stamps to accomplish this, what we can basically do with 1 stamp, which is hair. This time, you just kind of have to pick and choose when you can do that. I mean, I just know that stamp space is definitely going to be limited here. And so with that, we'll create the head and the body separately, but we'll also make the rest of the cape separately. The shark fins and stuff like that were all the cape draping over Batman's shoulders and kind of over the neck and chest a little bit. But we'll get to all that in a second, because now we're at the properties editor. This is where you can edit health and what characters react to your object as and all sorts of other things. So I like to read background information and fun facts about whatever we create in this series. So let's go. The Batman is an animated television series produced by Warner Brothers Animation and based on the DC Comics superhero Batman, if it wasn't obvious. It ran from September 11th, 2004 to March 8th, 2008 on Kids WB. Although the series borrowed several elements from previous Batman storylines, it actually does not follow specific continuity set by the comic books, the film series, nor that of Batman the Animated Series and its spin-offs. Since I'm a voice actor, I'm always obsessed with identifying and hearing some of my favorite voice actors in works just like this, and so I'd like to quickly mention that, of course, the likes of Tom Kenny and Dan Castellaneta, among many others, of course, lent their voices to some of the villains in the Batman series that we're discussing. And we can probably end off this section just by saying that The Batman received many award nominations and won in several of the categories, but it was also met with criticism from some critics and fans. IGN basically claiming that the characters in this show had a more kiddie and cartoonish feel than those seen in the Batman show actually called, quote, the animated series, unquote, and its kin. I guess it's up to you guys to decide if you agree or not, but again, many thanks to J.E. Sentry, who has just been so amazing. When people can give into my Patreon with a donation, it's like that's really what keeps this support and momentum, I guess, in the channel above and beyond. So we've got a head as the source object, and I'm going to put a golden egg over that as kind of the main part of the head. Again, that really dark blue-black kind of color. And so that's, of course, just for the bulk of the mask and stuff here on Batman. But then we're going to type in Dimorphodon. It's a stamp that I actually have not used yet, and we're basically taking just above the foot of the Dimorphodon in the back. Really, the back or front could work, but I'm just using the back one. I was hoping it wouldn't have that little black dot. Sometimes characters in Scribblenauts, they have that little black dot where the joint connects to the body or other parts and stuff like that. So here we'll use the whale fish fin and we'll cover it up. We're basically trying to size the fin and the Dimorphodon thing so that they kind of match up here, where the whale fish, I turned that fin upside down basically compared to how it started, and the curve, I guess, that was on the top of that whale fish fin, so basically that curve needs to meet that little black dot and just cover it up right there, and then you've kind of got it positioned where it can be for this design, at least, of Batman from the Batman. Nudibranch, or if you're from other parts of the world, it might be Nudibranch and other pronunciations and stuff, but it's basically that sea slug looking marine life. Well, we took one of the antennas of it that has a slight bend to it, and going with that whale fish fin, once again, we can take 2 of them and paint them basically white like this and put it just above the skin color tone here for Batman. A wedge we typed in after that, and the wedge, of course, you want the tool wedge, not the shoes, and so we can do that twice and put it on both sides for those little bat ear points of the mask and stuff. So we've got the Batman head is what we can call this. Now, anytime that you're creating a head and a body separately, you need to, for the head object, you need to go into the properties editor and go down to the equipment tab. This will basically allow us to position it on the body where we need to, but click that circle. It's basically the second from the entire bottom of the screen. It says can be worn on the face like glasses. So you saw that I filled that circle in right there. Check that off, and we should be good right there. So basically you're just doing that scripting. When we put the head object into the body object's hands, it will mostly put it where we want it to be. Notice that, of course, on the Batman's torso, the body object, again, I went back to that and added in this shape. That particular shape is called a trapezoid, so you'll need to type that in if you're in Scribblenauts Unmasked. As I've said before, Unlimited, you can just grab it from that geometry library, but notice that I did put it on the body, so it's connected to the body, but then I just moved it up around where the neck should be. So here we've got our, actually from Batman Returns, it was the last kind of Batman creation that we did. I created a cape just like this. The good thing about all of these Batman creations that J.E. Sentry has been wanting is that we can use sometimes the parts that we've used before, and so I'm just kind of showing you all the little pieces that were used to make this cape. It was like a glow stick cape itself, the dot as the source object, the scripting can be worn on the back like a backpack under the equipment tab, and Irish moss was at the very bottom of it to give it that wavy, jaggedy look at the bottom. But it's really sweet again because we can kind of use it for this character as well. The cape should be pretty dang long on this character. Now if we put all of those kinds of pieces together, those three parts, we've got the Batman right here from the Batman. And so that looks good. I've made him unstill, so I just removed the still adjective so you can see what he looks like when he's animated or moving around just a little bit, not much I guess. And of course I am Bat Kendo. You probably saw that I'm dressed as Bat Kendo. That's a character that has been around in any of these Batman creation episodes, it seems. We'll start off with a hemisphere as the source object for the next part that we're going to be creating. We're now making the Batbot. This has been used, of course, in the Batman series. Of course, when he needs to, I guess he fought Bane with it, but some other characters. I haven't seen the series, but from my research, and I think anything else would be a spoiler beyond that. But we took the goldfish, of course, bottom fin of the goldfish for the little eyes right there on the Batbot's head. We're doing the head first this time just because it's pretty simple. We've got the headband down there, kind of painted it that metallic-y color, just like these dots. We did 4 dots because there's 2 on each side. They're in the middle of the headbands down at the bottom of this head. Allosaurus, we took the end tail piece of that. We're going to make that be these kind of bat ear horn looking parts to the robot. That looks good. So Batbot head is what we can name it. Of course, go through the same scripting process from before. This time I'm just going to make sure that objects react to it as a head. I don't even think you need to do that because you're basically scripting under the equipment tab. Again, can be worn on the face like glasses, so it's going to treat anything like it was glasses. It doesn't have to be a head. I just did that for the sake of it. So we're going to start off with the mecha as the source object and make sure that the head is actually moved out in the front. You can layer it behind or in front of the various layers of the character. So you want it out in front. That would be the bottom right button when you have your tools on the left side of the screen. So here now we're just kind of going with this kind of color scheme. This time, instead of like a dark blue, I'm kind of going with a darker purple. So almost black looking, but it has a purple tint to it. And the toys, actually, if you buy the toy of the Batbot, it's like extremely purple. It's not so dark, but in the show, it was often a lot darker. And so I'm going to go with that. And we're going to take a golem now and grab the back thigh piece of the golem. So just above the golem's foot is that piece. And that's going to be pretty good for where the shoulders are. I'm just trying to cover up most of that mecha shoulder that shows up. A little bit will be covered up also by this, which is the horseshoe crab. Very kind of interesting out there stamp to be using for this, but on the side, this Batbot machine, it does have this kind of design, jaggedy metallic stuff there going down the bicep area. And so I'm going to type in gelatin this time, and with the gelatin, we'll put that down where the mecha's hands and stuff are, but just above the hands. So it's kind of on the forearm, I guess. And that's going to look pretty good, so I'll put it on the other side, of course, as well as that golem thigh piece. And we're going to go with a fang. We're going to go with the fang many times, but I'm giving it this newspapery pattern just to basically mimic some metal design, I guess. And so it certainly does have more fingers than that, but this is, I guess, as much as the stamp space is going to allow us, as well as just kind of the spatial awareness of this character. It's like, just try to imagine that there is the 5th finger to the Batbot behind the ones that we can see visible. So we took another horseshoe crab for the other side's bicep area for Batbot. Got the gelatin once again, so that gelatin stamp can be used just above the toes, I guess, if you said the mecha could have toes, maybe. But, there on the legs, the bottom part. A beauty. Went with the female beauty and the back arm of that beauty. That's basically the equivalent of the 20th page on the 29-page library, grabbing that arm shape that I've used in so many, I guess, creations in this series. I'm going to take a VHS tape for some stuff in the back that's going to be behind the head. There's a whole system of, robot design here at work that I want to include. And so with that takes also these golem shoulder pieces. We can just put that on really both sides of the VHS tape, covering it up just a little bit. A golf ball we can use, and we'll put that there in kind of the middle of the golem shoulder pieces, so that's pretty good. T-Rex, we can actually grab the back tail piece of the T-Rex, very, very back piece, and that's gonna make us reach the stamp limit. So I've mentioned this kind of over and over again, but what is this stamp limit thing? Well, every single part that we put on our creations here is a stamp, you know, so every single piece, like that T-Rex tail and the gelatin and all that stuff that we just used, each one of those is a stamp, and you do have a limit to how many you can use before the game gives you that error. That's why we have been creating these heads and bodies separately of these characters and these creations. So just after some last minute scripting here for the Batbot, we can now show you what it looks like when the head, of course you just put the head, just give it to the body object, and it should look as you're seeing here. I didn't mean to edit. This is actually our armored Batman from the Batman vs. Superman creation episode that I did actually with J.E. Sentry's first Patreon reward donation that he did a long time ago, and it's actually a ranged character. So our Batbot right now, you probably could give your Batbot and a whole assortment of weapons and things like that, as well as Batman just in general, because, you know, he's got so much with the utility belt, and all the different series and stuff that have different kinds of weapons that you've seen or different uses within the utility belt or Batman's equipment, basically. And so I think the Batbot's actually not going to do so well against our armored Batman creation, again, because of that ranged difference. You know, this armored Batman can keep the Batbot at bay like this, and he's doing so much damage and all that with his ranged smoke bomb attack, and also the metal blade that comes flying out of him after he takes damage and stuff. So it's looking like armored Batman's gonna do it here, and so sorry Batbot. And I made the armored Batman hostile, so he's actually also attacking me. Let's get him out of here before something bad happens. There's the head of the Batbot. Oh no! But alright, if you want a good look at all of our creations here for this episode, there they are. So basically 4 objects total to make these 2 characters. I like it, I like it. One last time, we'll say many thanks to J.E. Sentry, and you guys should thank him too, because this gets you an extra episode for the week. I still, you know, I upload every single Sunday, but when there's a Patreon reward episode like this, it happens on a not Sunday. So, you know, you get more than one episode is basically what I'm saying for this week. More entertainment, more creations, so I'll catch you guys on the next vid, which is gonna be on Sunday, and thanks for viewing.
What I say, and hopefully you flourish. Getting down to the matter, let's look at it more. My words ain't meant to be about wage of war. They're meant to bring justice to all wrongdoers. They're like a spectacle, so you can be the viewer and